Once upon a time, there was a king who ruled over a country. The king was very kind-hearted man who cared deeply for the poor and often helped them, earning their prayers and blessings. Allah had also blessed them with a very handsome and intelligent son named Prince Walid. Prince Walid was a well-mannered child who always obeyed his parents, which made the king and his consort love him dearly. One day, the king sat with Prince Walid on the palace balcony, enjoying the view outside. The streets were bustling with activity, and the nearby market was crowded with men, women, and children engaged in shopping and various tasks. Watching this lively scene brought joy to the consort and the prince and the king. Suddenly, Prince Walid nudged his consort's arm to draw attention to a boy about his own age walking with his father. The boy stopped at the palace gate and began pleading with his father, saying, "Father, father, tomorrow is the prince's birthday. Promise me you will let me attend the celebration. If you don't promise, I wouldn't go home." Sitting down stubbornly, he refused to move. His father tried to console him, saying, "Son, we are poor people. Who will invite us to the prince's birthday? Don't be stubborn. Let's go home. Your mother must be waiting to cook dinner." Prince Walid, saddened by the boy's plight, turned to his father king and said, "Father, how much that boy wants to come to my birthday." His father said, "No one would invite a poor boy to the prince's birthday. Please tell him that being poor doesn't matter. He is welcome to come." The king lovingly placed a hand on Prince Walid's head and replied, "My dear prince, I am proud of your noble thoughts. Rich or poor, everyone is created by Allah. If it were up to us, we would invite every child in the country to your birthday. But alas, we cannot do that." With that, the king gestured to servant and instructed him to quietly follow the boy and his father and find out where they lived. The servant obeyed and returned shortly with the needed information. The next day, a royal carriage arrived at the boy's humble home. Two attendants stepped down from the carriage and conveyed the king's message. The boy and his father were invited to the prince's birthday celebration. They also brought a large tray covered with a silk cloth, which they handed over to the boy's father before leaving. Overjoyed, the father later showed the tray to his son, which contained a splendid outfit for the boy: a golden sherwani, a silver silk pajama, an embroidered cap, and matching shoes. There was also a wallet pouch filled with gold coins. Seeing this, the boy exclaimed, "How kind our royal king is! He cares so much for us." His father agreed, saying, "Indeed, the royal king has shown great kindness to us." The boy then wondered aloud, "What should I give the prince as a birthday gift? It must be something extraordinary." His father suggested, "Let's give the prince that magical mirror, a gift from a fairy to me long ago. This mirror has the remarkable ability to show anyone you think of, no matter where they are in the world." Next day, both of them arrived at the palace to attend the birthday celebration. Held in the sprawling palace gardens, the father and son were seated with respect. But they soon noticed a commotion. Servants and guards were frantically searching for someone, their faces filled with worry. The father inquired about the cows and learned from a servant that Prince Walid was missing. Hearing this, the boy's father took out the magical mirror and told the king and the consort that he could locate the prince. The king looked into the mirror and saw Prince Walid tied up and blindfolded in a hut guarded by two men. Recognizing one as his trusted minister, Jan Alam, the king was devastated upon seeing her prince in such a condition and became furious. He immediately went outside and ordered the chief officer to arrest the treacherous minister and servant and bring them before him. Upon hearing the king's command, the chief officer, along with many soldiers, immediately ran to the minister's house. However, the minister was not there, as his house was locked. The chief officer understood that he must be at the place where the prince had been hidden. He and his soldiers hid and waited for his arrival. Not much time passed before a horse rider arrived and stopped. It was Minister Jan Alam. As soon as he dismounted from his horse, the soldiers arrested him. The chief officer drew his sword and pressed it to his chest, glaring with intense anger and shouting, "Traitor, tell me quickly, where have you imprisoned the prince?" Seeing the chief officer's rage, Minister Jan Alam trembled in fear. He revealed that the prince was held a captive in hut deep within a dense forest. Soon they all reached the forest, which was dark and silent. In the hut where the prince was held, a lamp was burning, and they could hear the prince's sobs. His eyes were blindfolded, and his hands and feet were bound. The chief officer quickly freed him and reassured him. The servant who had been guarding the prince was also arrested by the soldiers, and in fear of punishment, the servant began to cry. He confessed that the entire plan had been orchestrated by Minister Jan Alam, who had paid him many gold coins to abduct the prince from the palace. The servant also explained that the minister had been deeply upset when the king had appointed another minister as his chief advisor and had plotted this scheme to take revenge on the king. Both the minister and the servant were shackled by the soldiers and taken away to the prison, where they were punished for their treachery. The chief officer then brought the prince back to the palace and told the king everything. The next day, a grand celebration was held across the country. A special ceremony was held in the honor of that poor family. And in that ceremony, the poor family was rewarded with the special rewards.